welcome in. So if you stumbled on this video, you're probably interested in how to drop several of your lowest marks in, for example, Brightspace. Now, I have done a video a little while back on how to drop just one. So for example, if you have 5 assignments, 6 assignments, and the lowest mark you want to be able to drop, that you can actually do relatively in a simple way in Brightspace. And I'll put up a link up above there if you're interested in that. If you're interested in dropping more, so for example, like you have seen here on the screen, if you have 5 assignments and let's say you want to take the top 3, so you're dropping the 2 lowest ones, or maybe if you have more than that, okay, you can watch this video. I'm going to timestamp the entire video so you can kind of backtrack and see how to do the various steps. Okay, you can fast forward wherever you want to go. So I'm going to start from the basics. And first, let's assume that we just have one particular student. Now, if you had one particular student, so let's say we have 5 assignments and I'm going to be dropping 2 of the lowest assignments. And I have that all of these assignments are worth, let's say, 10%. So what I would want to be able to do is take the top 3 assignments and then calculate what the average for this student is on those assignments, or just on those 3. So that is very easy to do, right? If you have one student. So, I've changed all of these to percent so that it's much easier for me to actually see which ones are the top 3 assignments. So I'm just highlighting these would be the 3 that I had, and then I would drop the 80 and the 82.5, and they wouldn't count. And now in order to do this, so what we would have to do is we would have to say, all right, so now we're going to take 90 plus the 80, 3.3 plus the 100, and then I would divide by 3, and this would give me what the actual average is, which is going to be about 91%. Now you can put more decimal places if you wanted to. That's how we normally would do that, and of course all of these assignments are of equal weights that you would have. Now, we can't really do this. I mean, we can in Brightspace or in any management system for grades, and every single time we would have to calculate this through and then input the grade in. But if you have like 10, 20, 30 or more students, it becomes pretty chaotic, right, in order to be able to do that. So for instance, here's a list that I have, and these are not actual marks, but I populated it for this video, and you can imagine, so there's about 70 students or so. So I have assignments 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice the first top assignments are actually what I have just shown you. And if I scroll back through here, this would have been a pain to be able to go through that and then keep dropping the 2 lowest ones. So is there some way to be able to do this more efficiently? And the answer is yes, there is. Now, you're going to have to use Excel. You don't have to use Excel. You can use it in Brightspace, but it's pretty a pain, okay, in the behind to do it. So I use Excel, and I'll show you how to do the entire thing. So for instance, this is the idea behind this. So the idea is how many assignments you have. So for me, this would have been that I'm going to take the sum of all of the assignments. So from assignment 1, okay, and I'm going to add all of the assignments together. So in this case, I have 5, maybe you have more. Now, if I take this particular sum, of course, if I counted all of them, then I would just divide by 5 to get the actual grade on the assignments. Now, if I want to drop the lowest ones, then what I have to do is I have to take the 2 smallest assignments in terms of their grade and remove them. So in order to do that, so this, I'm just going to write it in words, and these words are going to have a meaning in Excel. So I'm going to take the smallest assignment, okay? So from all of the entire list, I want to take the first one, which is the smallest, and then I'm going to also remove, because I'm dropping 2, okay? I'm going to take the second smallest assignment, and that would have been these 2 particular items. If I subtract those from the sum, that's just going to leave me with these particular marks. So that's my sum up on top. And then I can take this entire thing and then divide how many I'm actually counting. And I'm going to get exactly the same answer, okay? 91%. So that's going to be the idea that we want. Now, how do we do this, right, throughout Brightspace? So let's take a look. So again, so here are my assignments in general. Now notice that the assignments actually all have, okay, they're out of a different, okay, mark. Assignment 1 is out of 10, assignment 2 is out of 20, assignment 3 is out of 30, so on. So that's annoying, but if I convert all of them to percents, it's much easier for me in order to be able to do these calculations. So first thing that I'll do is not do anything in Brightspace. I'm going to say, let me export the marks out of Brightspace, okay? And let me just have a hold of them in a regular Excel sheet. So that's the first thing that I'll try. All right, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on Export. So now in order to export, this is actually important. So you're going to be sorting through here. So if you remember, the assignments are worth different amounts. If they're for you, if they're worth all the same, then that's not a big deal. You know, for me, they're all different. So what I typically will do, instead of wanting the point values, I will take the grade scheme, and my grade scheme is percent. So this is now going to export percentages. If you can't do that in Brightspace for wherever that you are teaching, you can export the points and then you can convert the points to a percent for each of the columns. For me, I can take this and just export it as the actual grades. Now, user details, I don't need the names, I don't need sections, because here I just want to be able to do the calculation. This is like my kind of template file, the one that I'm going to play with to calculate the grades. And then I'm going to calculate those grades and then import them back in. And I'll show you how to do that. So all I want in here is I'm just going to select the assignments. I'm not going to export anything else. So I'm just going to export these assignments. That is it. That's all that I want to be able to export. All right. So now I'm going to hit export, and I want to export the CSV file, although it won't matter because this is just my kind of temporary file. This is not the one that I'll be importing in. This is the one that I want to work with. So I'm going to export this out. So as Excel or CSV file. So that's the first thing that I'll do. It's loading up for me, and then I'll hit download. So now I've opened the file. So notice I have assignment 1, assignment 2, etc. Now this end of line indicator, that's just for kind of from Brightspace. So I don't really care about this. So for the moment, you know, I'm going to just kind of remove this from here. I don't need it. This is again, just my calculation. So within here, I'm going to actually, you know, I'll call this assignment, okay, grade. This is just temporary, as you'll see. So what I want to be able to do is I want to now do exactly what I pointed out to you with regards to my grades. This is what I want to be able to do. All right, so I want to now input this formula into Excel so that it starts to calculate my grades. That's what I want to be able to do. So how do I do that? All right, so if you go in here, if you're a little bit familiar with Excel, so you're going to hit equals, and now what I'm going to do is I want the sum of all of these. So I'm going to take sum. This is an actual function. Okay, I'm going to open the bracket and I'm going to add up. Okay, so within here, so I'll just add up. So I'm just going to select all of these that I want to be able to add together. Right, so that's the first thing that I will do. So this will just give me the summation of all of these. Now I want to remove, so I'm going to hit subtract. I want to remove my smallest from these. So I'm going to hit small, and yes, that's a function in Excel. And what it takes is an array. So it's going to take all the numbers in here. And now it's going to ask you put a comma, and it asks you which smallest one, the smallest number, the second smallest, third. So I'm going to remove the first smallest number, right? So that's the smallest number in general. So that's like the minimum number. And now I'm going to remove the second one. So I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to put comma, and I want both the first and the smallest. So now what I have is I have the entire sum, okay, minus the two smallest numbers. So I'm going to, you know, put this thing in brackets. So let me just put that. It's a little bit annoying. I got to go all the way back. Okay. So that's what I want to be able to do. And now in those brackets, because I'm going to be calculating, so this is actually going to give me an actual number. So I'm going to put this as 100 times, so I'm going to scale it up to 100 because I want the grade out of 100, divided by 3. And this is going to give me what the grade is. So I drop the 2 lowest ones. And notice that it gives me my grade, which was 91, which is exactly what we got. Now, once you have this, then you can take this, you can round these up. So, maybe I'll put this in here for you if you wanted to. So this is another function. So if you put round, put this in brackets, so this entire result in brackets, it will round to you. And now at the end, okay, so what I'm going to do is let's put maybe just 1 decimal place. All right. So it's going to round this to 1 decimal place. Now I'm going to copy this. And this is now how easy it is. It will do that now and replicate it for all of the grades, right? So I'm going to just go all the way down, as many. So imagine, doing this by hand. And now it populates. So these are basically the grades of all of the students on the assignment. Now this is out of 100. So I scale it out of 100, okay, for myself. If you want, you can now take this number, scale it to whatever it is that you want. So I like it out of 100 so that kind of it makes my calculations easier later on. So now what? I have all of these marks. Now I want to be able to import them back into Brightspace. All right. So how do we do that? So I'm going to leave this file alone because I'm going to need this column. So now coming back, I have all my marks. Now what I want to be able to do is I want to input those marks, and I've created an extra column. I called it assignments top. So these are the top 3 that I have. So if I go back in here, so this is what I've created, call it assignment top 3, a top, it's going to be out of 100 like I have done. And I have done nothing special, okay, with regards to this. So, I can save this and close. Okay, so this is what I have. Now, my goal is to populate all of this. Sure, one by one, I can enter them in, which is not what I want to be able to do, because especially since there's about 70 of these marks. So what I will do now is I'm going to export, but I'm only going to export this file, right, with this particular mark. That's all that I'm going to do. Okay, next. So I'm hitting export again. So now I don't want the grade scheme. Now I want the points grades because it's going to be out of 100. Okay, so this is needed so that when we import, it actually maps it to the points out of 100, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to enter anything else. I don't need any of these. Now, right here, I no longer need any of the assignments, which I did before. I'm just going to select this one empty column, and I'm going to export it. This time, I do want to export as a CSV file so that I can correctly import it back into Brightspace. So let's download it and then open. So I have, these are my marks, right? So these are mapped to the students. Now I'm hiding the IDs of the students. The IDs are kind of on the other side over here, so that you have. And that particular column just has the mapping, right? So here I have all of these marks. Now I'm going to open that file, which I want to take these marks into. So, all right, so now I have them side by side. And so here are all my marks, and I want to take these marks right here. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to now take the other file. So here's the other file, and I only have one entry, right? So just make sure that you're, pasting it back in. Now I'm going to paste these marks, and I'm going to paste them as values, so just as regular values, because what you have them in the other file as they're basically, there's a function that you had there, right, that you created, sum minus small. So here you just want to be able to paste it as a regular. Okay, so here I'm going to kind of click in, and I'm going to paste, so paste special and values in here, so it doesn't actually paste the formulas back in. I just want the values. So there you have it, and it's all kind of rounded back in. Now, all I will do, so I have now all of my marks associated with the usernames that I have in here. So all the way down. So I'm going to just save this file, and now I'm going to go back to Brightspace and import them in. and let's see what happens. So we're back into Brightspace, and I'm going to just hit import. Asks me to select the file. So I'm going to choose the file that I just pasted into. So that's this one. The other file was just the one that I did the calculations on. So I'll take this file. Okay, I'm going to hit continue. Hopefully we have no errors. All right, so no errors in here. So I didn't paste in the wrong thing. I didn't change anything else except that paste. Now I'll continue. And now, so what you will notice is that the marks, so notice that it creates the assignment top 3 and it, goes in. It gives you the names of the students so you can match it. Okay, so just make sure that it's correct. I wanted to hide those names aside. But it's actually going to fill in all of the grades for me. And this continues on through several pages because there's a lot of students. And now coming back, so I've just hit import, continued with throughout, and notice that my entire column is filled out. So you have assignments 1 through 5. This drops the lowest 2, and then I've imported in the marks into just one column. So you have all of these. The first one is the one that I did by hand, and of course you can do all of these as well. And this is so much simpler. Now, of course, I'm making the video, so it takes longer to explain it, but hopefully it gives you an idea that you don't have to do this by hand, especially when you have a lot of students. Sometimes you might have multiple sections into one big file, and it becomes annoying. So this is much, much faster to be able to do. All right, so I hope that this video helps you. Okay, you can hit a thumbs up and saves you some time. Okay, so happy to help if I was able to. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you maybe in future videos.